We are recording. Yes, we've made it. We're here finally after weeks of trying to assemble the the Avengers, the Spine Avengers have come together. Um, okay, so welcome to the Ultra Running Sam podcast. Adam Jacobs, Will Roberts, and Jenny Hall. Now you're all from the race that I'm constantly talking about on the podcast at the moment. So people who are regular listeners and viewers know that at the moment it's spine, doing interviews with people connected with the race. So far I've interviewed Lindley. We had a chat about gear and the route and everything. And yeah, you were right. Well, it was it was tough to end the conversation.
Don't drop me in it. He might listen to this.
Yeah, it wasn't Will. It wasn't Will that said that.
Lindy
No,
doesn't
no.
talk.
The man is an encyclopedia when it comes to kit knowledge, but yeah, he's not an easy book to put down.
He is exactly. Yeah, it was a great chat, and yeah, I think he was on his own in his van up on the Pennine Way with Starlink, so he probably could do with the company. So
I get jealous when I see him charging about the countryside. He always seems to be living a great life out of that van. So yeah,
it's always somewhere spectacular.
That's it. Living the van life. Yeah, he's probably jealous of seeing you, Adam, like sleeping in your car and stuff at the Spine. Minus, what was it? How cold was it?
Oh God, it was probably -5, -6. I woke up with like frost on the inside of my windows.
Yeah. Yeah. All for the love of the Spine.
Yeah.
So
and shots of Sycamore Gap before the tragedy.
Yeah.
Before the tragedy. So yeah, well, I've interviewed Lindley so far. Then I've spoken to Simon Roberts, who just won the Cheviot Goat, and he's like revved up for racing hard at the Spine. I realised that he'd done the race before, hadn't he? He did it in 2020, and he was injured, so he sort of plodded his way through it. So he's confident of his abilities. And then last night I spoke to James Nobles, so that podcast will go out probably tomorrow, depending on how the cycle works. But basically, yeah, so I wanted to get you guys on just to talk about the excitement around the race this year. Obviously, there's, as we've just said before we started recording, it's an all-star cast. But before we dive into the Spine race, it would be remiss of us to not quiz Jenny about her recent adventure. So Jenny, just sort of explain who you are and what job you do at the Spine before you sort of tell us about your adventure.
Yeah, so my role at the Spine is I head up the marketing for the race. So I'm responsible for encouraging people to actually sign up, like yourself, Sam, and get them to kind of go and do a life experience they'll never forget. So I kind of thought I'd better go off and do one of those myself. I've stood on the races now for, how is it, 2 years now, Will? We've been, to all these races with the Spine and beyond the ultimate, and I have just been nothing but inspired by all these people that give everything of themselves to go and do something remarkable. But it's always sat in a box for me of that is something I cannot do. I just don't, I've never been a runner. I've never had that experience before, and I just never believed that I would be able to ever go off and do something like that. But I guess because we are surrounded by such an amazing community of people, you start questioning, don't you? And you start to wonder, and you start kind of getting a little bit of envy of all these people that are kind of really achieving something quite remarkable. And I kind of then went through a process of not being bold enough to say that maybe I might want to do one. The pressure of working for the Spine race and the Beyond the Ultimate, you are surrounded by very, very good people in this industry. So then I went through a process of, well, I'm not good enough. And if I did do it, and if I failed, I'd be I'd let everyone down. So there was just been this like real kind of roller coaster. Anyway, I eventually decided to commit, and having not ever done an ultra before, decided that I would do the Desert Ultra, which is the 250-kilometer multi-day race through the Namibian desert, averaging temperatures this year of 50 degrees. So having gone from never really running before to completing my first multi-day ultra. So yeah, super proud.
Yeah, it's amazing, absolutely amazing that is, that you've gone from 0 to multi-day ultra in one. And there's plenty of people that didn't finish that race, isn't there? Like some, quite high profile names that did not mentioning any names, obviously, that didn't finish that. And you were, so why do you think you were able to sort of stick it out to the end? Is it just having a bit of patience with pacing and the heat and everything, because that is hot, 50 degrees.
Yeah, it was something I've never ever experienced, and it was, I think, I did my best to kind of get to the start line in really good shape. So I did put the hours in for the training, never once kind of went, I can't be bothered today. So I knew going into it that I had given everything that I could have done in order to get to the start line. I've been quite meticulous about my kit. I had some good advice from obviously the people surrounding me. So I went in kind of knowing that if I just gave it my best shot, then that's all I could hope for. I think with the heat, I don't know, you either just learn to kind of mentally try and deal with it, and because it becomes a real sort of frustration in your head, that there's just finding kind of tactics and ways to kind of overcome it. I paced myself so that I didn't shoot off. My goal was to kind of finish the race rather than be competitive. So I went into it knowing I was going to be slow and steady, and that's what I'd kind of prepared for. So yeah, there was times of, can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. There were times of screaming to the world. There were times of crying in disbelief and checkpoints. But you just kind of, you've got to keep believing in yourself and keep putting that one foot in front of the other, and somehow just finding a bit more strength than you thought you ever had to kind of keep going. So yeah, I was really pleased at how I came through it. My feet got absolutely shredded. So for me,
you got spine feet.
I got spine feet, yeah.
In 50-degree heat.
James Bartlett on day 2, I took my trainers off and he said, oh God, you've got spine feet. And at that point, I thought my race was over. I was just like, there's no coming back from this. But anyway, the medics were amazing, kind of patched me up and off I went. And fuel, hydration, mental state, all of that was really strong. And I really managed to keep putting a smile on my face and keep trying to, everyone says it will go so quickly. Just try and keep enjoying everything that you can do. So that was my approach really. And I was just, like I said, so proud to kind of get to that finish line, and having walked like a lot of the race, the day 5, which is the longest, the 92K, I found myself running for a lot of it, and I just got this second wind. It was incredible. So even at 80K, when I thought I was going to be dead and buried, I was running down the gorge at the end in kind of pitch black, but kind of really high on life, talking to bushes, trees, like having conversations with anything that I could on the way down, to kind of, I was really like enjoying the moment. It was incredible. So yeah, I think a lot of people said to me, like, it's a mental game. You kind of get your body as good as you can, and then you've just got to rely on your mental strength. So that's the kind of the reserves that I think that I had to draw on.
Wow, that's amazing. When you talk about your feet being destroyed on the second day, it's amazing what those medics can do, isn't it? To patch your feet up and then send you off, and you're almost like, oh, my feet feel as good as new, and then it only lasts for so long, doesn't it, before they start again. But
saying the noise, the pain, it will become background noise, Jenny. It will come background noise. And I'm like, it really isn't anywhere near background noise right now. It's like front and center and smacking me in the head every step that I took, and particularly with deep sounds, your feet are so hot. Like, yeah, a lot of it was quite a torturous process. But there we go.
came out the other end alive. And
Yes.
so how different
Also,
is it?
I'm glad you're recording this because I'm supposed to be interviewing Jenny about this tomorrow, and this saves us doing any of that. I'm just going to steal this interview and tuck it into my podcast.
How does it differ to racing Citroen 2CVs?
Yes, thank you, Sam. For those of you that don't know, in my spare time, I race the highly elite 2CV. They, well, you know what? I do the endurance 24-hour race, so I am used to going long periods without sleep and being quite mentally kind of stretched on full adrenaline for a long time. So, yeah, very different kettle of fish, but interestingly, I'd say the common theme between it is kind of managing through kind of stress, adrenaline, that kind of keep pushing mentality. So yeah, bit of a different beast. I think I might stick to the 2CVs. What I would say is I'm probably as slow at 2CV racing as I am at running, is what I decided. I clearly just like tugging around back. That's where the fun happens, right?
That's it. That is where the fun happens, at the back of the pack.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm really pleased for you because I know, yeah, because I'd imagine like being involved with such a high profile race as the Spine and everything, you kind of there could be a danger that you kind of feel like a little bit of a fraud, that you're sort of dealing with that race and then you've never had any involvement in that kind of that level of racing sort of thing. So I suppose for your own personal, just to feel that you've experienced the same thing that those people are going through. And I think when when you've been around the race a bit, I found this, that you see people in checkpoints and you realize that I had this preconceived idea about the Spine that, everybody was an elite runner and that everybody was there, they were absolutely amazing, and they are. And there's some amazing elite runners, but you realize that there's a lot of people there that are just exactly the same as you, same level of fitness, same background in running, and are getting the job done. As hard as it is, they just get it done. So I think it's reassuring, isn't it, to know that you've gone through some of that pain and you can sympathize with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it would have been too easy for me to have gone. Everyone always, it seems so out of reach that you kind of think, I can't do that. And actually, slowly but surely, I was able to kind of remove those barriers and go through the highs and lows and the stresses and the anxiety that every single one of our runner goes through, whether it's injuries, training, kit. Kit. Just the anxiety around that, packing your bag, carrying everything. It was quite a journey. So I knew, as if I didn't respect people enough for doing these ultra marathons, it's just gone off the scale now, having kind of lived and breathed some of the pain and the anxiety, but the highs that you get and you experience as you go through it as well. So yeah, and I got to enjoy the support at checkpoints and all of that stuff that that people are kind of really proud of what we deliver through that. So yeah, it was a great experience.
Makes it special to the volunteers. Absolutely. Right, so on to the Spine. What's everybody's predictions then? Because we if people are looking at the lineup, people have been added. So is Eugenie's been added now, hasn't
he? Indeed.
Yeah, he's the beard.
Aye, he always does. Very happy to see that.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that actually as well. So I've got a soft spot for Eugenie. I always, do the same joke to him, and he never laughs. Every time I've seen him, I've always said to him, "Dos cerveza, por favor," and he just looks at me blank, and I'm thinking, am I saying it wrong? I'm sure I'm saying 2 beers, please. And he just looks at me blank and then like asks for a cigarette or something. I don't know.
Well, there you
It's-
go.
it's-
I mean, the spine's full of characters in it, and Eugenie definitely goes into that category. But one day Eugenie's going to surprise us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not going to be that big a surprise. We know there's an incredible athlete in there, and I'll never forget. You know, the Jasmine Parish year is the Jasmine Parish year, but I remember Eugenie in pieces when he did sort of get into the Border Hotel, and how he was the only person that was anywhere near being able to keep her in range. And it's easy to forget that, but there's a exceptionally tenacious guy in there as well, and I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, the lineup, do not ask me to place money on this. Impossible. It's so many names on there, and it's going to be a good January. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm almost like, as much as I'm really happy to be doing the race, at the same time I'm like, well, this would be a great race to be like covering on media. It'd be nice to just be chasing people around in a van, taking photos and filming them rather than actually doing the race. What's Adam? Have you got any hot picks for what? I know you're particularly interested in John Kelly coming back, aren't you?
It's going to be great to see John Kelly come back. I think, after Damien won last year, I think John was always going to sort of go, well, hang on, I'm not having that. I want to get one over on him again. But I've got after Jack's performance last year, I think now he knows the course, and if he can avoid getting another time penalty, he's a real danger on that course. Because last year wasn't easy, especially with sort of the snow over the Cheviots towards the end. I think without that, he possibly could have made up that time penalty without sort of the moment he got slightly lost up there. It would have been a lot closer than it was. And I think he's got a real chance this year.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, look at that as a recce last year. What an incredible start to his spine career there. Like, he's going to be very exciting to see in January.
I've tried to get him to come on and do an interview, and he's gone. I think he's gone dark on Strava. So I spoke to because I've got his number last year, and I've been texting him all year, and we've been talking about running and about the spine and stuff. And I said, right, and I thought he was like a given to come on and just talk about the race. I was like, right, so when are we booking you in to come on and talk about the spine? He's like, oh no, I'm not doing that this year. And I was like, what do you mean not doing that this year? He's like, oh, I'm doing things differently this year. I'm like, so you're not going to come and talk about the race? No. Oh, that's ruined my plans. I'd like got you scheduled to come on. And I was like, sure, I can't tempt you to come on. No.
Same here. I've had the same conversation with him over the last few days. Okay. Yeah, he's gone dark. He's focused. He's getting ready, but who knows? He's being a man of mystery, and I love that even more. That's just adding to this anticipation for us.
It is. Yeah,
all good.
It really is. Yeah, it's making it more interesting into the fact that he's gone dark on Strava. So for the last 2 weeks, there's nothing on Strava at all, and I know he's been running because he's been putting stuff on Instagram about doing recces and everything. So he is putting the mileage in, but so I don't know who he's hiding his Strava from. Possibly Damo.
But we've got all of that, and then we could have another year like 2022 where Ian Keith just comes out of nowhere and picks everybody off. Everyone drops
absolutely.
That little hut, smiles at the camera and runs on.
One of my favorite moments in the spine race of all time. But yeah, you just don't know. Ian Keith is so savvy. Like, if you're looking for an expert on the course, that's who you're going to look at. Now, every time I speak, I mean, he's a humble guy, and every time I've spoken to him over the last few years, he's determined that he's getting a bit older now and slowing down. It just doesn't always matter on the spine race. Like, you can think your way through this, and yeah, we've seen it happen before. All he needs is for the people ahead of him to burn themselves out, and everything changes all of a sudden. So never write off Ian Keith.
No, definitely, yeah. Especially, like you say, with his knowledge of the route. And when I spoke to him last year, he was just saying how he doesn't even need to look he doesn't even need to look at his like the routes on any GPS or anything like that. He just knows. He says even there's some sections that in the dark he still knows like the back of his hand. He's done it so many times that he's got that knowledge and that experience, which, like you say, that can count for more in a race like that when everybody's burning matches at the front. So you're right. This was my theory as well, is that you've got some really fast guys. You've got Jack, who will be pushing it. You've got Damo, who will obviously be pushing it or won't let Jack get too far ahead if he does try and push ahead. Kim Collinson, I really hope that he can.
I hope he can finish this year.
Hope he can finish this year. I really want him to be up there at the front. But then you've got like Simon Roberts and James Nobles, who I've just interviewed, who are all like big mileage, fast guys that have won big races. They've both won Dragon's Back, so it's not out of the realms that they could be at the front pushing as well. So you could have that scenario again where people burn themselves out at the front and somebody else comes through and sweeps them up.
Yeah, and I mean, look behind that. You've got Dougie's in it as well. James Leavesley's back. I just had another name on the tip of my tongue and it's gone. Mark Potts, people who are always up there troubling the podium. Like any one of them this could be their time around. And I mean, that's amazing. We haven't even started on the female athletes yet, which
Star-studded cast. Claire back for Can She Take Glory Again? I mean, she had an amazing race last year.
She's had an amazing year.
Incredible year last year.
Yeah, and Hannah Rickman's back, so she was second last year. So hopefully she'll be gunning for it as well. With Anna Truth back in the mix as well. So we've got again a real
that is Nikki Spink.
I was gonna say we've just managed to get that far without mentioning Nikki Spinks, who also did the ultimate recce by being a volunteer in the summer. So she's really done her homework.
And she's crewed Damien along the route a number of times as well and paced him on his FKT. So he knows where she's going.
Yeah, she was at Hardrill, wasn't she, at the start of in the summer, the start of the North? Because I saw her there, I was like, I'm sure that's Nikki Spinks, definitely, yeah. And she was sort of hanging around while we were all like on the verge of like tears, having to put full waterproofs on just to start and go up Great Shunner Fell, and that as we went past her, I was like, would you rather be in here or be out there? And she said she'd rather be out there. And I thought, yeah, she's going to be doing the race, isn't she?
We've got Sharon Gator as well. She's got more records than I've had hot dinners. I mean, she's going to be interesting to watch. And what I noticed, a lot of the women, they've done previous races before. So some have done the Challenger South and come back to do the North, and then now they're taking on the big one. So really looking forward to seeing how the women's race goes. We've got Lucy Gossard. She's a Ironman kind of, I think she was professional, wasn't she? So she's made the switch, going to take the spine on as well.
Yeah, and that is going to be exciting to see. And we've not mentioned Elaine Bisson in there as well, who's also going to be in there. Like that, there can be no sweepstake, because where would you put your money? Like anything could happen in January.
I wouldn't pick one name this year at all.
No, I don't know where I'd start.
I'm going to be bold. I'm going to go Claire again.
Go on, Jenny. Oh, yeah. All right. If you were going to put my arm up my back, she's had such an astonishing year.
Yeah,
it'd be hard not to be looking at Claire Banworth right
now. With Nikki's track record and her running CV, I'm not writing Nikki out of this at all.
Oh God, no, absolutely not.
She just won. What did she just? She just won a race, didn't she?
She won. Didn't she win the Cheviot Goat?
Yes, she did. Yeah, it was the Cheviot.
Yeah. So
if
that's not a great prep for the spine, I don't know what is.
Yeah, great result to be riding in the spine race on that.
But
absolutely.
Again, Hannah Rickman over the last 2-3 years has always put up strong results and has got stronger each time, and that's a great one to see as well.
Definitely putting the training in, that's for sure. I've seen the training on Strava, and she's up and down those mountains in Malawi.
Yep.
Another
what a
volunteer.
place to train for a race on the Pennine Way in January as well. Wow.
What do you mean? It's perfect weather.
Yeah, nice and rainy. Okay. So as far as the media team is concerned, then what are you individually looking forward to? I know, Adam, it's going to be a sad time to not be able to go up to Hadrian's Wall and get that iconic shot. But what are you looking forward to?
I'll still be going up there, and I think, I got that one perfect shot last year, like
Oh,
when
yeah.
I caught the Northern Lights.
Amazing.
It was just an incredible moment, and to have that as one of the last photos I've ever taken there is, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard thing to go back there and see a gap now, and it is a gap, and I think we were all a bit shaken by that, because that's been such an iconic part of the spine since the start, and everyone was like, I get to go past Sycamore Gap, I get to touch that tree, I get to see that and have that moment, and it meant so much to so many people on the race as well. It's going to be an odd moment to go back there for sure.
Yeah, it is a real shame into that. Absolutely. What have you got any ideas about how you're going to approach it? You're still going to go there and get that shot? 'Cause I mean, that silhouette is great anyway, isn't it? With the with the gap.
I think gonna have to go. You can't not go there. It's an iconic.
Agreed. I mean, it's an icon of the race, and we'll be paying homage to it at some point along the way. It feels like the wrong thing to do for us not to go there, but yeah, it's not going to be easy to see. Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. Well, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
I mean, Adam was your man to talk to about being out there and adventurous on the course. Anyone who's seen me on the Spine race will know I will most likely be downing my 12th espresso of the day in a checkpoint. That's that. But I look forward to that. It's
one hot drink.
Found an espresso machine at a checkpoint.
Yeah, all right. Maybe that was a little fancier, but some kind of coffee in a checkpoint, something caffeinated.
Yeah, something with caffeine in.
You know what? It's really hard for me to pull one point of it out. It really, really is, and it feels to me you get really quickly into this pattern of not really having a normal calendar day anymore. I know I'm not going to get 8 hours of sleep each night. You sleep when you get a chance here and there across the week. So it all feels like one long day almost by the end of it. And I don't know how I pick a bit out of that. Like I love it. You'd have to.
Yeah.
You approach it the same as the runners, don't you, really? It's just like one big race.
How do you stop? I mean, and I think I can confidently sort of speak for Adam here and Jenny as well. We've just got an enormous appreciation for what everyone's doing out there. How do you make yourself go to bed when if I wait another half hour, then I might be here when the next runner comes in and they've just been out on their own for the last 12 hours and it's hurling it down and they've had a tough time. It's really difficult to stop sometimes. But yeah, I mean, we love it. It's a compulsion. I think we're just as addicted as some of the long-term runners. I'll keep coming back as often as, Bobby Cullen and Gary Chapman. Like, I'm in.
Jenny, what part of the shift are you looking forward to?
It's always a long shift, isn't it, Sam? That's how me and Sam first met, on one of the longest shifts of my life, I think it was, but a very enjoyable one as well. Gosh, the spine is just something so unique, and it brings together such an eclectic kind of mixture of people, and it's almost like a reunion, isn't it? You come back, you see faces from old, and I'm relatively new into the franchise, so to speak, and so, but even now, you're coming back and it's like greeting old friends again. You've always got stories with people that you've met and that you've kind of you know, something's happened up the route somewhere that you reminisce about when you kind of meet up. So there's a real connection between everyone, and that's everyone from the volunteers to the event team, the media team, the runners. That's just so special and so unique. It's just difficult to, if you could just bottle it up and sell it, it would be like one of the most unique blends of, you know, brilliant wine in the world. So that's a real privilege to come back into, because we spend, you know, most of the year preparing for it, you know, working out all the, you know, logistics behind it, marketing it, all that kind of good stuff. And then, you know, the big crescendo arrives, and it's really exciting. I think last year, one of the best things that happened was when Dean went into B&Q to pick something up, and someone saw he had a spine top on, and they said to him, "We've just seen the spine on the BBC Breakfast." And so it was kind of like, wow, it's kind of now hitting like the, you know, the homes of the nation, and hopefully starting to become a treasured kind of national sport as well. You know, it's come from its heritage of 9 starters or 9 finishes in its first, 9 starters in its first race to where it is now. You know, we are full, every single race is full to the brim, which is incredible. And to have people chatting about it in their front living rooms and just admiring the feats of what these athletes do is incredible, and a privilege to work on. So yeah, we're all just combined by hoping that the shared passion of selling and telling their stories, and you know, getting that mixture across. So, and hopefully we'll have a brilliant finish, and if we can get on the you know, BBC News again, that would be the cherry on the top.
Yeah, it's got to be a given, hasn't it?
Oh, you got to hope so. And you talked yourself down a minute ago when you just sort of referred to yourself as, you know, I'm the marketing manager. I think people don't realize what was actually going on behind the scenes. But like when BBC came in and wanted to do the live breakfast interview and stuff with Jack and with Damo, that was a 40-hour shift that Jenny pulled in the middle of that week. And on top of spinning those plates while we've still got the race going on, there you are making sure that I don't go insane while I'm charging around the place trying to cover everything.
Not just you.
Like, oh, yeah.
Adam, you're not sleeping under the table again.
Well, that didn't work though, did it? Because you were always.
So I've just learned to leave you to it now and just kick you on the way through.
I still don't know how you sleep under that table.
Roll that and a sort of spine race buff over my eyes, and I'm done.
That was a moment last year, wasn't it? Trying to get Damien and Jack to kind of, they've just put everything into this mammoth race, and then would you mind getting up at 6:30 and being fresh and fantastic for the national news in the morning? They did very well, though. What was it, the big bouncy ball or something? Jack was
the bouncing ball of fun.
Oh yeah,
that was it. Quote of the year.
Yeah, it's not carried on though, has it? No.
It's too late to get that printed on his race number.
And so we're obviously like only weeks removed, weeks to go, should I say? Is everything sort of logistically and organisation wise? Is everything on target for a seamless and smooth transition to the race?
Will?
Yeah, I think so.
Hi, you've met us, right? Yes, and I mean, yeah, like logistically, this year's been really sort of special behind the scenes. Actually, quite a lot of sort of long-term spine family members are now sort of heading up their own departments, and it's like it's a democratic process behind the scenes now with these various people heading up their areas, and they've really just grabbed the ball and run with it. So yeah, I mean, logistically, stuff's been happening for months, and it's all starting to come to fruition. But how do you get everything ready to have the media team ready for this? We don't know what's going to happen until we get there. So yeah, I guess it's similar for the runners. You make a plan, but you prepare to smash that plan to pieces and
Yeah.
rely on your system and the people around you, and it
What is
works.
it?
But
What is it? Mike Tyson says everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah. And it's the
Yeah.
spine race, so you'll probably get punched in the face within the first couple of hours. Okay?
I had that quoted at me on an hourly basis in the desert. But I must admit, that quote just stuck with me. It's just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Yeah, it sums it up, doesn't it? Really, absolutely.
But it's always
Amazing.
exciting when you see the race numbers being ordered and printed, and the t-shirts being printed, and the volunteer shirts, and that's when you know that it's spine time. It's not long, and then we have this weird kind of run into it because it's Christmas and New Year, so you kind of, there's quite a lot of anxiety pre-Christmas, hoping that you've got the majority of it done. But needless to say, you kind of always come back into kind of some loose ends when you get back. But yeah, well, I think you're on top of it with the media teams all ready and raring to go. So yeah, we are set.
All set. Brilliant. Well, it's been awesome talking to all of you. Great catch up, and half of me is I've done this because I'm going to miss out on the catch up that I normally get up at the race. So, but I'm sure I'll be seeing you at various points during the course.
Oh mate, yeah, definitely. I'll be looking out for you along the way, and can't wait to see you up in Kirkyatam again. It'll be great.
Yeah.
And you're joining the media team as soon as you finish, right? That's
there might not be much of the race left to cover by the time I get up there.
We'll have you lined up for your interviews on the finish line, Sam. If you were the last one to finish over the line, then we often get a lot of inquiries for interviews with the last person. So there's always that to kind of bear in mind.
Yeah. Don't like
You'll be
chasing.
Sam. We will be cheering you on every step.
Excellent. I look forward to it. Well, thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate you coming on and giving up a bit of your time in your busy schedules leading into the race. And I look forward to catching up with you at the race in just how many weeks are we? 4 weeks, 5 weeks, are we? 4 weeks.
Yeah, 4 and a bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's real. If anyone's listening to this and preparing for the race, sorry to break it to you, but yeah, just over 4 weeks.
Enough time to start training.
Lynn is available for full kit questions.
Yeah. As they say by now, the hay should be in the barn by now. Well, I don't know. A few more weeks. Yeah, a couple of weeks. Yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming on, guys. Much appreciated.
No worries. Thank you, man. See you soon.
Later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.